Good afternoon, guys. How's everyone doing this wet, old, cold, grey Thursday afternoon? I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you're all in the best of health. I hope you're in the best of wealth. And I hope you're genuinely being lucky in life. I really do. And also, I'd like to put out that being the best version of yourself is always the right way and always the best way. It really, really is. I've seen both sides of the coin. I've actually lived the life of both sides of the coin. I've lived in the fast lane, a dangerous life, a very, very dangerous life, and a wasted life in prison. And I've also lived a good life. So I've had a bit of both. And I can honestly put my hand on my heart. I think it's that side here, my old ticker. Cheers, Howard, for making me laugh when I said that before, because I weren't too sure what side my ticker was on. But yeah, I can honestly put my hand on my old ticker on my left hand side. I think, yeah, and say that living, you know, a good life is a working life, going to work, earning money the right way, blood money or drugs money or any money you get, really the wrong way is never, never, never the same as working and bringing a wage home and going to work every day, coming home feeling knackered, getting into bed early, 9:30, 10 o'clock, knackered, coming home, having something to eat, having a shower or vice versa, waking up the next morning, going to work, reversing the cycle, not reversing it, but repeating the cycle of going to work. And, as the days turn into weeks, to weeks turn into months, to months turn into years, things start to happen for you, like they have for me. They really, really do. Makes me laugh when I speak to a lot of the generation of today, and they actually, do you know what? I'm not even 2 minutes into this video, and I'm giving you so much good content already, and how about that for you? Who else across YouTube, like, without blowing their own fucking trumpet, gives you content as real as this? Not many people, I can tell you. And I'm here to tell you that living that life of a criminal and, isn't glamorous in any way, shape or form. Going back in the day, going on to a subject about prisons, yeah? Going back in the day, when you went to prison and you had a habit, you could be on anything, any class A. I'm not gonna pinpoint any class A, but I'm saying, if you had any class A addiction, which you would suffer withdrawals from with bad. If you went to prison back in the day, you was just left in the peat, you was left in the cell to get on with it. And that was always the best way. I remember vividly in the early 80s being in Wandsworth prison. And then I was, only a youngster myself, full of beans. Them days, I just didn't give a flying fuck. And the more problems, the more drama I could create, and that's what got my rocked my boat. I thrived off of violence. I thrived off of being that person, is always me. The finger was always pointed at me, and 9 times out of 10 it was me in jail. If anything went off, it was always me what started it. So yeah, I know I'm rambling on a little bit, guys, but what I'm trying to say to you is, living that lifestyle, as I just explained to you, isn't the right way forward. It isn't a healthy lifestyle. It isn't happiness. It isn't joy. You're not content. You're not settled. You're always looking over your shoulder. You don't know when your door's going to go through. You can't stay in one place for too long, and things like that. And I was one back in the day to never ever plan things. Like, I couldn't plan what I was doing the next day from one day to another. And that's because I was a criminal. I was living that lifestyle. And I just didn't know when my door was going to go through. I didn't know when I was going to get arrested. But now I can plan for weeks and months ahead. And it really is a better lifestyle. It really is. I know I'm rambling on, but sorry, guys, it's the truth. And I only talk the truth, not I like talking the truth. So now we're 4.5 minutes in. I'm going to go on to a quick story about Swaleside Prison. And let me just tell you one thing, yeah? It was called Swaleside, but its nickname was Brownside. And it still lives up to that reputation today. The place was absolutely running alive with drugs. You could probably get more drugs in there under one roof than what you could get outside under one roof. And that is a fact. That is a well-known fact. Drug dealers were giving users habits, turning users into addicts, and then, you know, getting them so far into debt that they couldn't pay the debt, and then they was giving other addicts, you know, gear to go and serve them up to do the contract on them, and that's the truth about Swaleside. You know, you might think that drug dealer is your friend because he's giving you bags of gear every day, but let me tell you something now: when this shit hits the fan and he wants paying, and you're not gonna pay him, you're gonna find out he's not your friend at all. Actually, it'll be your worst enemy, and that's the truth about Swaleside. When I went in there, it was a fucking war zone, an absolute war zone. People across my channel ask me sometimes, because I've been in, like, you know, handfuls and handfuls of jail up and down the UK, going all the way from starting all the way from Wandsworth to the Ville to Scrubs to Brixton, right the way up north, you know, Whitemoor, Long Larton. So up and down the country, I've been in all the jails, and a few of my followers do ask me, you know, out of all of my jails, what I was in. So I'm going to drop my head a bit because it's glaring. You know, a few of my followers asked me, out of all the prisons what I've been in, what was the most dangerous prison? And I can honestly put my hand on my ticker on my right hand side. Sorry about that, my bad. It's the left hand side. I'm only pulling you old pudding. What was the most dangerous jail? And it was without a doubt Swaleside. Whitemoor, you know, them cat A's are dangerous. Don't get me wrong, and you know you can lose your life in the flick of a switch. You know, you might. Let's just give you a little story or an example of a cat A jail. All long term is in there, and there is a few short termers in there, but them short termers are the ones what can't get handled in the system. So you could be a BCAT prisoner. You know, you could be doing 5 years, and in BCAT training prisons they can't handle you, so they chuck you into a dispersal jail. So yeah, you do have some short termers in there, but a majority of it was long termers. And I'll give an example. You could have been walking down the same landing every morning for, say, I don't know, 2 years or 3 years, and you know, you might cross someone's path and they might walk the same, you know, opposite direction to you, and you might say good morning out of respect for each other every morning. One morning you'll walk past him and you won't say good morning to him, and that person will go back to his cell and his head will start ticking, his mind will start thinking, and he'll start paranoia starts setting in, and he starts thinking, I wonder why he didn't say hello to me. Have I done anything to him? And that is when, you know, really dangerous things happen. I've seen people getting stabbed to bits, coming a Rizzler paper away from losing their life. I've actually seen, you know, people what have been properly took out of the game, and it was in Swaleside. Yes, definitely Swaleside. If you go back onto my videos, you'll see a story about Swaleside, about two brothers, a fat guy and a slim guy, and one of them got ironed out in there, and his brother had to go in his cell and find him ironed out, you know. Not nice at all, but yeah, Swaleside was definitely the most dangerous jail. And if you're not known in Swaleside, if you go in there and no one knows you, you know, you get asked to produce your paperwork. You know, they might give you 10 days, 2 weeks to produce your paperwork. So that's how long it takes for an inmate to get their previous convictions. And how you would get them is from your solicitor. So you've got a couple of weeks maximum to produce your paperwork to them boys on that wing. But if you don't produce that paperwork, that is your lot. They're going to come in on you, and you're going to get served up. Because as far as they're concerned, you're either a speedo or you're a snake, one of them two. So yeah, the bell was getting, the panic alarm or panic button, whatever you want to call it, was getting pressed at least 3 or 4 times a day when I was out on association, and the screws were running in, you know, onto the landings, out their office, finding people fighting and you know, killing each other. It's blood everywhere. And another thing about Swaleside is the screws. You don't see no screws on association. They unlock your door and then they lock the gate, which is the gate which gets you onto other wings. But they lock that gate, and they leave everyone to run wild on the wing. Even the screws are so frightened of inmates in there that they don't go onto the landings. Maybe every now and then just to check, to do a roll check, or to see if things are running all right. But overall, you don't see screws, and that is why it's such a dangerous place. It's a jungle. It is a concrete jungle with bars around you. And yeah, I mean, how I got through that personally, guys, was I was very lucky to have one of my co-defendants in there. And not only that, I'm pretty known in the system, from detention centre to youth custody, all the way through from young offenders. So in every jail I went to up and down the UK, I was known. But I was lucky in that sense when where no violence actually come to me. And if it did, I would have dealt with it, there and then. There's no getting away from it. You can't have an argument, and two people have an argument, go back to your cell, because what happens then is you start pacing the cell and you start thinking mad thoughts in your head, and so does that other person. And that's when people die. That's when people lose their lives. So yeah, as soon as an argument breaks out in Swaleside, there's automatically bang, it's off, And yes, tools do get used. There's a metal shop, workshop down there. Would you believe that? A metal workshop where there's chisels, knives, hammers. There's shanks in Swaleside. There's tools in Swaleside that I've never ever seen. You're talking like a foot, 1 foot long, probably, spikes, metal spikes. What would go in you and out the other end of you, straight in your stomach and straight out your back. It was that sharp. It was that lethal. And, anyone in Swaleside was tooled up. And that was the truth. And also, if you had any beef in Swaleside, say for instance, and you wanted to go out on the exercise yard, you'd have to get a load of hardback books and wrap them around your body like a vest, like a stab vest. And that's the truth, guys. But I hope you enjoy my content. I'm going to be back at you in a little bit. Have a good day, everyone. I did say to you, I'm back. So yes, I will be back with more prison stories. Bless. Peace.